to TLT Talks. We have a very special guest for you today. One that's near and dear to my heart. As you can see, I'm not in my normal office. I'm traveling, but that will never get in the way of us getting on here at our scheduled time and, looking for best ways to add value. So let me start to tee this up. This is a person that I've known for a long time, nearly 10 years now. He's had the pleasure of serving over 700 real estate agents across 17 offices. Before that, he had a long and very successful career of a decade plus as a real estate agent on a team, primarily serving townhouses, new developments all throughout Brooklyn, etc. Let's see if we can get him on. I tell you. So let's see. He should be coming any minute now. So we're going to hear from him. And here he is. Here he is. The one, the only Dennis McCarthy. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Eugene, what a pleasure to be here. Pleasure
Well,
to be here, and thank you for speaking. Thank you for that intro, and
totally. From the
it's
heart.
and we worked in the same market, which is something
That's
we should
right.
also say in
That's
Williamsburg, Brooklyn, heavily.
absolutely. People have this perception out there that brokers are like gladiators, and we worked side by side for so long and very
Hmm.
beautifully, very collaboratively, even though we were in different firms.
That's right.
So, to those that are watching, Dennis McCarthy is a senior directing manager at company. He's actually my manager. And I have to say, one of the best managers I've ever worked with. Actually, we were catching up a little bit. We've seen each other three times, and it was great. We had our event on
It's
Monday, so there. Then we
wild.
had right. Then we had a big room we were in together, and now for the third time this week. But let me just say, for anyone out there that has a manager, if you're fortunate enough to work with someone like this individual, then you are really fortunate. Because I find myself fortunate all the time, Dennis. Truly, truly.
Well, it's a
Um,
pleasure working with you, Eugene, and your entire team for that matter too.
thank you.
They all have such great. They match your energy for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, we're certainly very selective of who we pick. Well, Dennis, I can sing your praises for the entirety of the show. Why don't you take 60 seconds, tell our viewers who you are, what you are, whatever, anything you want to
Yeah.
share about yourself.
Thank you, Eugene. Yeah, Dennis McCarthy. I'm going on 9 years at Compass. Prior to that, I was at another brokerage as an agent for 13 years here in Brooklyn, as I mentioned. I have had the great pleasure of managing here in Brooklyn and Queens in New York City. And in 2020, we began to open the Long Island market here at Compass.
Mm.
And we did it in February of 2020, and the agent started onboarding the first few weeks of March of 2020, which you remember
Perfect
that time.
timing.
Yeah. So
Perfect.
leadership at Compass, I think they caught on. I'm originally from Long Island, and
Hmm.
I think they caught on that I have a 516 number, and they asked me to step in for a few months and help manage with the expansion on Long Island. And they said, "Oh, it'll only be for a few months." And it's been for 6 years, and I've loved every moment of it. So I'm working in
Love it.
Brooklyn, Queens, and Long
Ah,
Island, and
love
when
it.
you get exposed to a different market sometimes and a different responsibilities, it really creates such energy. So it's been
Awesome.
a great 6 years here.
Awesome. Well, sales is a game of inches, right? Just a few
Yes,
days, just a few months, just a few years.
that's right.
Well, Dennis, as you know, we love having fun with this team. Give us a fun fact, something people might not know.
All right, I'm going to test you. You might
All
be
right.
too young for this, but when I was a
Okay.
kid, I was on Romper Room. And I don't know if
Okay.
you know what Romper Room is. Do you know what
I
Romper?
don't. No, I
Ah,
don't. I'm
so
sorry.
I
I'm
caught you.
sorry. No,
So many of
got
your
me.
viewers will know it was a
Mm.
children's show filmed here in New
Okay.
York,
Okay.
and I was featured on Romper Room as a child
No way.
on the
So
show.
cool.
Yeah.
Child, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking to a child actor. I love it. Now, look at you. We're back in the big screen. I mean, I'm not Joe Rogan yet, but here you are. Here you are back in the big screen. Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome, Dennis. No, I can't believe I didn't know that all this
You
time.
have to. I'm gonna have to send you some information
Yeah,
on it so you
definitely.
figure it out.
I'll
Yeah.
send it over. We've had some really interesting fun facts on this show. We've had like horse whisperers. I'm a black belt, double black belt in jujitsu. Most people don't know about me that I was at one point in time. Not many men get to call themselves a former professional athlete. And for the first 6 months out of high school, I was a professional bowler. So
Wow.
it's
I did
not the
not know
same.
that.
It's not the same as basketball or football, but I was
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
good at it. And I was the first. I joined my high school team in my third year. We won the city championship. I won rookie of the year. Then we went runner up. And my coach, this is not going to surprise you. My coach is like, the hardest part about this the hardest part about the sport is mindset. Is like, because you're really just going up and there's no defense, there's
Yeah,
no
yeah.
opponent, there's no weather. It's just you and the lane
Mindset.
and the ball. And can you do things consistently over and over again? And can you make the necessary adjustments? Very similar to golf, actually. Probably the most
Absolutely.
similar. And she's like, I've never met anyone that's like so solid like you. I think you could really be good at this. So I did. I went on tour for about 3, 4 months. I placed in the tournaments that I did. And at that time, the number one bowler in the world was making 250 grand a year. And not like I was so rich or whatever, but I was like, all right, this is what I'm doing with my life. I'm going to travel the world bowling for maybe 50, 60 grand a year. Today, there's like tournaments for $5 million dollars and the celebrities got involved. But like,
That's
yeah, so
wild.
we hear some really cool things here. We hear some really cool things. One of my favorite parts of the show is getting to learn more deeper about people.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so let's dig in. So, ladies and gentlemen, so just to give you context, not only is Dennis a super veteran of the industry in a multifaceted type of way, but also he's absolutely true blood Compass, much like myself. I mean, I think people like us, we don't hold the pom poms because we're a Compass. We're at Compass because we hold the pom poms. I mean, kind of like or maybe that's an analogy is reverse, meaning we love it here, and so it's
Hmm.
easy to speak about it from the mountaintops. So let's get into, part of that was just your vast knowledge of the market. Let's get into this market is so odd and different people are different seeing different things. Let's start with the sales market. Just any high level trends, especially here in three markets,
Hmm.
any high level trends you're seeing, anything to share
Sure.
on the state of the market.
One thing that's a common denominator in all the markets that I service, which is urban, suburban, and seasonal, is there is a lack of inventory across the board
Hmm.
still. In New York City specifically, New York's a seasonal market. We usually get
Hmm.
very quiet starting right now, this time of
Yep.
year.
Yep.
And I think that what happened this year, if you remember, the winter was a nightmare. It was
Yep.
such a crazy winter, right? So
Yep.
it really delayed our winter market. So the spring market was pushed late. Things weren't necessarily all in contract prior to Memorial Day. Agents were very busy in June
Yep.
and July. I hosted a Brooklyn sales meeting last week, and the agents were all commenting on how busy their open houses post July 4th have been. I
Yep.
know agents who hosted open houses July 4th weekend and were getting crowds and
Wow.
offers. That never happens. That's like one of the
Never.
few weekends you check out, right?
Totally.
Um, but so
Actually,
what?
actually, not to interrupt you, something really similar happened over the winter break. Like normally,
Mhm.
December, January is dead. Between Christmas and New Year's, we had three open houses, and all of them were packed. New developments, resale. Like winter, we were really packed. So it's weird how even the seasonality is starting to shift a little bit.
Correct. Seasonality, and it's funny because we are in July where we typically would have been pretty quiet and the
Yeah.
agents are busy. But I would say that the expected summer slowdown has yet to materialize, Eugene.
Hmm.
Inventory remains constrained, as I said, in New York City. In Brooklyn specifically, we're down 10% year over year in inventory.
Hmm.
Um, and homes are selling much faster. We're days on market are down about 5% month over month.
Wow.
So you can see that. But we're still seeing an increase in price, which is
Right.
phenomenal.
Yep.
Average price is up about 15% year over year.
Wow, that's amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, and and it's for anyone watching, just please understand. Anytime you hear a blanket statement, that doesn't mean all neighborhoods, all assets. That's like a general range, and we're seeing both sides of that. We're seeing some property we list that we think might take a while just flies. Other property we think is actually a quality asset can sit.
Mhm.
Neighborhood dependent, asset dependent. I mean, really, we've always said in the show, like, there's no reason to be doing this by yourself, but certainly now more than ever, you need a localized expert, someone that knows what they're doing. Otherwise, like, you just leave yourself to the mercy of the moving storm, and it
Yes.
moves so fast. Now, real estate used to be the most reliable, stable asset, and now it's no different than Bitcoin. I mean, it could be up or down 20% in a quarter. It's
That's
crazy.
right. Yes. And the
Uh,
rental market is just as I would say the rental market is mirroring the
yeah.
sales market,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
absolutely. Yeah, I was just about to ask on the rental market. Yeah, like what we're seeing, we just for those that may know or not know, we just did our annual event trivia night, and I got up and I shared some of the market data and basically what's happening in the rental market, all the regulation that's being put out there that is supposed to be good for the consumer, it's actually terrible for the consumer. Last year was the Fair Act,
Yes,
and woohoo, no more broker fees. Well, not really. That money's got to come from somewhere. So
correct.
immediately we saw a whole bunch of listings leave the market because the landlords didn't want to pay those brokers. We're
Hmm.
not openly.
Hmm.
And then also we saw prices go up by 10-12% kind of overnight to
Yeah.
make up for the fee that they now have to pay. Fast forward a year later, rents are at all-time highs. I think the median Manhattan rent is like 5,300. Last year
Mm.
it was like in the mid fours, I think, or somewhere
Right,
thereabouts.
right.
So rents are all-time highs. Inventory on free market is so limited because everyone's taking it, and we have more rent stabilized units vacant than
That's
ever
right.
before because it just doesn't make sense for the landlords to fix them up. So I think we're north of like 60,000 vacant apartments in New York City now.
Unoccupied
So
apartments, insane. And
unoccupied
there's a
apartments.
housing crisis, you know,
And there's a
so
housing crisis. Yep. So the more it's like, look, I get the short term thinking is, oh, yeah, don't raise rents, free stuff, whatever. Okay, great. But then the people that are responsible for actually creating the housing
right.
are disincentivized, And so,
Hmm.
like, yeah, we could call them bad, greedy landlords. Okay, fine, great. It's just unproductive because these are the people that actually. It's like if we it's like if we disincentivize doctors from caring about the service they provide. If we said, you know what, you typically charge $20,000 for the brain surgery. From now on, let's only call it five. So,
Mm.
okay, how many surgeries are they going to be excited to perform? They're not providing a great service and adding value is not mutually exclusive from wanting to be successful. They're not mutually exclusive.
Right.
Actually, when you pair the two, it's when you get. So these are not political statements today, but just the realities of the market, and we're seeing it every day. And now this year, I think for the first time in history, maybe not the first time, but I think for the first time, 0% increase on rent stabilized assets. So all these
Wow.
landlords, boiler increases, the
Hmm.
utilities go up, staff cost goes up, everything goes up, but not
Yet,
rents, but not your income's frozen solid. So like how can you
correct.
expect, and the taxes are going up and the city's raising taxes. So it's like I'm seeing the regulation in New York City is just creating a volatile environment. And so for the consumers out there, again, just talk to someone that knows what they're doing, see where things are going. So part of that,
Now more than ever,
yeah.
you need a strong, solid advisor.
Advisor, that's right.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
true, so true. Well, so let's talk Compass. Like again, I've been here for I think this is my 11th year. After the first few, I'm like, this is just home. Who's counting? So for those that are not here, I mean, tell us. I'm sort of with you. I'm on the back end. I'm like keep my ears to the ground. I'm in
Hmm.
the know on not all things, but on most things. But for the people out there, agents, consumers, everyone that's curious about what's going on with Compass,
Hmm.
what's in store, what's next, what's the vision, what's coming, give us some
Yeah, I
scoop.
will. I mean, there's been a lot of talk this year. There's been a lot of news, and Compass has benefited enormously, Eugene, by our recent acquisition of the Anywhere
Hmm.
brand,
So
which
great.
brought us from to form Compass International Holdings, which is
Yep.
phenomenal, which makes us 340,000 agents strong
Surreal.
across the country.
Surreal.
Now,
I started in 2014, dude. There was like 50 of us. I
I
think I
know.
was the
I'm
first like
talking to
broker
the
team.
first 50,
Like
and I'm
I was
talking
the
about 340,000.
I was the first, and I came. I think I had just missed or just got to the end of Urban Compass. I just missed the red
You just
backpacks
missed it. Yeah.
like by a month. I think I just they were rebranding to Compass just when I arrived. From Urban Compass Red Backpacks to Compass International Holdings, like it is
It's
insane.
wild.
It's
And
insane.
you
Yeah.
know, the beautiful thing is within the Compass International Holdings family, where the other brokerages are maintaining their brand, which I
That's
think
right.
is really
So smart.
important, and
So
it's
smart.
important for the agents and the consumers alike. And what's great is many of the company-owned brokerages are going to get access to our technology platform, which is
Perfect.
phenomenal, and it's called
Phenomenal.
the Home Platform. And this
Hmm.
is something that our Compass agents like yourself and your team have mastered beautifully
Yep.
over the course of the years and fit this platform into their everyday business to improve efficiencies.
Yep.
So we're looking to see that. You know, Robert Refkin said something early on to me when I remember running into him in the Park Slope office in my first year when I was managing that office here in Brooklyn. And he said, Dennis, um, we're not only elevating the agent here at Compass, but we're elevating the brokerage end the industry.
The industry.
And
Yep.
it's
Yep.
incredible to see that everything we have done since I've been here for 9 years is exactly what's happening. We are
Totally.
elevating the industry. Now agents are
Totally.
going to get access to this incredible platform.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but I think that there's continued focus on seller choice. We've known that for the past year, 2 years.
Yep.
We've been hearing quite a lot of that, and not being governed by MLSs or portals, and
Yep.
we'd rather be governed by our governing
Yep.
bodies.
Yep.
And I think that's interesting and important that we protect in this new world that we're entering into. We have to protect ourselves against data collecting aggregators, frankly.
Totally.
So we're the advisors to our clients,
Yep.
and I'm personally glad to be at a brokerage working with brokers that see this first and foremost.
Yeah.
And you had the vision early, Eugene, and
Yeah.
we've sat in rooms recently in meetings with leadership where this has been a focus of what we want to do is protect our
Yeah.
clients and
Yeah.
our own data.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just become, there's a word that we throw around a lot on our team, and that's workable or the opposite, unworkable, right? And certain things are just unworkable. I mean, I'm all for capitalism, entrepreneurship. I think that's what drives the market. And I was, the dinosaur that I am. I was here when Craigslist was free. And then all of a sudden, Craigslist started charging $3 a day, $6 a day, $10 a day. And everyone's like, oh my God, this is BS, whatever, whatever. There's no integrity. And then Street Easy came out. And I was like, oh, look, finally, a portal that's free, that's full of integrity, yada, yada. And that
Yep.
was fun. And then there was, okay, everyone's got to make money. So, okay, they want to monetize that a little bit. And then at some point, it just went too far. It just went too far. And, I think that more, yes, of course, everything you're saying is spot on. And what I've heard Robert say a million times, which I totally agree with, like, in no industry is no industry is the owner slash seller mandated of how to choose to sell the asset they're selling. Like
Correct.
if I own a car, I can do
Hmm.
whatever I want to sell that car. I could put it on eBay. I could put it anywhere I want. And no one's there to say, no, no, no. You can only sell your car in this way. And if you want to hire a person to sell your car, they can only. So regulation is important. I'm not saying it should be the Wild West, but there's a difference between regulation and dictatorship.
Right.
And it started to, I'm from the Soviet Union, man, like, so some of the things happening in New York, I mean, are a little too close to home.
Right.
But I was born in the Soviet Union, and the opposite of freedom is tyranny, is dictatorship. And
Hmm.
it just started to feel a little too much like that, which I think is why there's this big feud and the lawsuit between Compass and Zillow. And look, in my heart, I believe truth will prevail. In my heart, I would believe workability will prevail, and there'll be some great outcome for all us. But again, thank God for Robert Refkin, because I just truly don't know who else would have been convicted enough, passionate enough, courageous enough to take on David taking on Goliath. And like
Well, listen.
we were joking around. I'm sorry, you go on.
No, while that's happening, what we can do is just
That's right.
continue to focus on our clients, who
That's
at
right.
Compass, our clients are our agents, right?
That's right.
And we need to build something for you. We have built something for you so you can focus on supporting your clients.
That's
And
right.
I think that there's going to be a continued focus, and we're rolling out while we're still getting big. As I said, we're maintaining our independent brands. And, Netta Nawab is incredible, and she is really
Yep.
pushing
She is great.
the boutique feel, big
Yep.
boutique versus big, right?
For sure.
So we can be big, but we still have to have that boutique feel, and we need to continue to offer our agents capabilities like this AI assistant that Compass
Oh my
just rolled
God.
out. It's
Crazy.
incredible, right?
Crazy.
Like if you're not using, and you can tell your team this, and I'll tell your team this, but if they're not using the AI assistant yet, they're
Yeah.
missing out on one of the biggest opportunities just to simplify their workflow and stay
Totally.
focused on what matters most, which is spending time
Totally.
with their clients or spending time with
That's
their
right.
family or going
That's
bowling or
right.
doing whatever it is they have to do, you know?
Nice plug.
So it's one of the most powerful tools that we've rolled out.
Yeah.
And you can agents what the beautiful thing is, it can be matched up with our already pre-existing tools, like the likely to
Totally.
sell recommendation. So your AI assistant can draft outreach to your likely to sell recommendations. Your AI assistant can do a daily summary for you each day to let you know exactly what has to be done next. It's incredible to see.
It's wild.
And the agents, since we've rolled it out this summer, are diving into it and they're loving it.
Yeah.
In addition, we've rolled things out to support you all with your customers as well, which I think is huge.
Hmm.
In this new world of technology, again, the consumer wants to be read in on everything in real time.
Yep.
Just like when you're ordering dinner or lunch off of your food delivery app, you want to see where that is, where the progress is. Have they accepted the order? Are they preparing the order? Is the order out for delivery? These are all things that consumers want in instant time. And I'm thrilled that Compass offers that with Compass One. So you
Totally.
can bring your client into the platform to see where they are in their transaction, where the other side is in their transaction, so they can be engaged and fully involved in the transaction and not have to rely on you to come to them. And that's what we did with collections as well, right?
That's right. That's right.
Collections is a great tool that like Pinterest,
Yep.
allows the
Yep.
buyer to engage and communicate to you, the agent, in
Yep.
real time through technology,
Absolutely.
as they go through their preferences. I had an agent, Eugene, you'll love this, in Brooklyn who left Compass. And she
Hmm.
left Compass because she wanted to focus on a different market. And then she called me a few weeks later and she said, "Can we speak?" And I said, "Of course." And she said, "Can I come back to Compass?" And I said, "Of course you can come back to Compass. The door is
Yep.
always open. You know, we
Yep.
we we make sure of that." But I asked her why, and this was early on, and she said, "Because I can't work with a buyer of brownstones in Brooklyn without collections."
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah, collections. I've used every platform out there. I've been on because I'm such a student of the game, especially of
Yeah.
operations. I think operational efficiency drives revenue. That's why we're
Hmm.
so obsessed with it. There's just nothing that exists like collections. I mean, other things you're talking about as well, and like it's as you're sharing all this stuff, I can't wait, I can't help but sit here and smile because then as the two dinosaurs that we are. We started this. There was no cell phones. Like
I know.
we
I know. We have
we
Blackberries.
oh my god! Like we said, now we're talking about like go into this thing, have the AI create the thing for you. Like it's a different
Wild.
universe, and it's just the beginning. Like this isn't the finish line. This is the starting line. This shit is
I
all
don't know
just getting
how.
started.
I don't know how realtors did their job before technology. I mean, how
Oh
did they
my
do it before
god!
cell phones alone?
Uh,
It's
I
wild.
tell you, I started at City Habitats in 2006, and our database was something called FileMaker. You couldn't even search. You couldn't do like one bedroom, 2,000 to 10,000. Like you just went, and there was 500 listings, and you just scrolled. I mean, advertising was like, the New York
Right.
Times.
Right.
I mean, we talk about like, might as well be two different worlds, like
Hmm.
crazy. Well, yeah, I mean, thank you for that insight. So valuable. I was actually going to interview you next on what makes Compass, for those that don't know, like what makes Compass stand out from the perspective of the agent and also the person. Because if I'm a consumer, I don't care what technology you have. I care about what you can do for me. If I'm an agent, that's all I care about is how can you help me serve my client. We touched upon a bunch of that very organically
Yeah,
and like what's in
we
store for
did.
Compass. But anything else you want to add? Like if I'm an agent and I'm at any other firm, by the way,
Hmm.
let me just say one thing about that merger. I was in a room just yesterday actually with Dennis, and you had the heads of the so now Corcoran, Coldwell Banker, Sotheby's, all these firms are now all unionized together through this acquisition. And so I'm listening to a panel and I'm watching these CEOs. I'm watching Rob, Pam, the other one. I'm watching the four CEOs. This was 5 years ago. This was like Game of Thrones and that different houses at war, And today everybody's on in like truly collaborate without ego. Everybody's in one room, collaborating, aligning towards a brighter future for the industry, for how to serve the consumer. And I think what's unsaid about Robert Refkin is exactly that, how he's able to unify people. Just like I was in the room yesterday, and I was just in shock. Like it was just to see this from what it was just a few years ago was crazy. Anyway, sorry I digress, but I thought
It
that
was
was worth
wonderful. It's
mentioning.
it's 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 that's leadership.
That's right. That's
That's
right. And I and
leadership.
I'm looking at top brokers from Cork and from Sotheby's from
Hmm.
Compass, and they're on a panel together talking about how they're truly like collaborate
And
without ego. I
sharing.
mean, really
Yeah.
dream big,
Yeah.
all of it. Yeah. So,
Well,
anyways, if I'm an agent that's not part of this
sure.
merger or
Yep.
whatever, how's Compass great for the agent, and then how's Compass great for the consumer?
Well, you just touched on it there, the leadership, right? The
Yeah.
leadership here is phenomenal,
Yeah.
from our leadership team nationally to our leadership team here in the tri-state, to in each subregion throughout the country. It's phenomenal. And, our leadership at Compass is not siloed. We're not all working in our individual offices, just worried about our offices. We all work
Yep.
together as one. And we have phenomenal agent experience team. We have a phenomenal marketing team that the agents have access to. So I would say the leadership and the people are like just beyond. The culture here is phenomenal, and the agents feel that culture. And what the agents have done is they've taken the culture to the next level. And Eugene, you are one of those agents.
Oh,
You
thank
guys
you.
have created a network with agents of collaborating without ego, as you said, throughout the country. And I've gone to those parties at our Compass retreats that you've hosted. I've gone to events, or there's one coming up. There's a happy hour in New York in early August.
Next week,
Bunch of
yeah.
agents from Florida and Connecticut are getting together and hosting all the New York City agents just to get us
Levy,
all in a room together.
Levy the legend.
Levy the legend. Levy just sent me he sent me sunscreen lotion and a swim shirt today in their Williamsburg office. I'm going to wear it
Love
this
it.
weekend.
Love
But
it.
I
Love
would
it.
say the culture amongst the agents nationally is beyond. It's like nothing I could ever have imagined until I got here, and I was blown away by it, frankly.
Yeah.
Because of that, it creates a network, and because of that network, it creates referrals, and referrals are flowing in from agents to agents throughout the network, and it's really really something.
Love it.
And I think from a consumer, you asked from the consumer perspective, you know, I would want to work with an agent who has everything at their fingertips to make them more efficient and
Yep.
in real time make them more successful in helping me transact my home or purchase my home.
Totally.
And we have built that. We have built that for our agents through our platform. And also, as I said, the agent involvement and inclusion in the process, the client involvement and inclusion in the process through collections and through Compass One. I think that's really paramount in the world we're living in today. We want advisors, but we want to work with our advisors. We don't want just our advisors to be taking care of everything for us. We have an app for everything that we are engaged in our lives,
Yeah.
whatever that may be. I mean, I
Absolutely.
can't even just like uh, people have sprinkler systems at their homes and they have an app for it that they're
Yep.
like scheduled. Everything is just scheduled and
Yep.
engaged in. So I think that that's really paramount as well, as I would say.
Yeah.
So,
So great. I can attest to that as an agent. Like so many of our clients, like when we sit in front of them, we just signed a $30 million new development. We're very
ah,
excited to, yeah, soon. It's going to be launching soon. Actually, they're
that's
nearly
right.
done. We'll probably be launching end of this year. And when we sat with them, they're like, "Why you?" And we competed against, I want to mention names. We competed against some really heavy hitters. And I went through our experience, but I was like, let me not tell you, let me show you. And I opened, for you guys that may not know, reach out to me, ask, I'll let you know. But I opened the buyer demand tool, I opened reverse prospecting, open
Mm,
collection, I just opened all these things. And I was like, look, I don't want you to just meet with these two people. I want you to meet with 50 people. And I want you to have them explain to you how you're gonna come up with a price, how you're gonna market, how you're gonna get max exposure, yada yada. And then I just showed them with me, and I pulled up a random listing, and I said, look, if we go to this price, this and that. So that's how we'll know how to price. By the way, before we even go live, by putting this in, I can reach out to these people before we
yeah.
go live. Who just and I just said to them, this is under the hood. This isn't some theoretical, here's
Well,
some pipe
that's
dream. Here's under the hood.
That's also very
And
important. Why to work with a
yeah,
Compass agent? Our access to off-market inventory is
that's right.
unbelievable.
Yep.
Our access to off-market inventory and the network provides that, but we have that on our platform as well. I have an agent in Long Island. I can say her name, Fran Mazer. She once said to me that she joined Compass because it was a disservice to her clients not to.
Not to be.
And so
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
agents are on pitches, I tell
Yeah.
them to say that. Say, when you're meeting with the seller and they say, why Compass? And be like, because if I was at another firm, I'd be doing you a disservice, frankly,
Yeah.
because we want
Yeah.
you to have access to everything that I have access to.
Yeah. Oh, Dennis, you're amazing, man. Dennis, it's 12. I promised to have you out on time. And you probably have three offices, hundreds of agents. Thank you for making the time. Any final thoughts, final remarks, and anything you want to leave people with?
No, I just want to thank you, Eugene. You and your team are phenomenal at what you do. Anyone would be extremely fortunate to work with you and your team. And I will
Wow.
say that you have built something quite unique. I have exposure to agents throughout the entire tri-state, as you know, in the country, and evidenced on Monday night with your client gathering, the energy in that room, and the involvement, engagement of your clients and your team members was beyond. So, well done. My hat's off to
Thank
you.
you. Oh, thanks, man. Thank you so much. Dennis, you have a sensational day, my friend.
See you around.
See you, brother. Bye bye.
Bye bye.